Welcome back to the Gospel Sports Truth Podcast. I'm your Jose, the fantasy football fiend, and my guy, your guy, BK Wins. Holla at the people.
Hey y'all.
So this week, just like every other week, there's something that happens out there in the wonderful world of sports that just really makes me scratch my head. And this week, Mark Cuban might just be off of his rocker. Um, I don't claim to be a better businessman, a smarter person in general. Far be it from me to claim any of those things. But Mark Cuban took to social media and indicated that the NBA should embrace tanking. He argued that the league's attempts to discourage losing are misguided. And you know how we are, BK. Like we hate to lose more than we like to win. It's just, but the notion that the business of basketball requires you to lose from a owner's perspective, or isn't a bad thing to attempt to do to win. It just really threw me for a loop because I didn't think that if that was a thought process of owners, it would come from that guy. We know Detroit trusted the process for years and is still trusting the process, I guess. But I mean, excuse me, Philly. But with Joel Embiid and that whole, okay, I mean, you've been relevant for years, but the process never really came to fruition. I didn't understand it, and I'll never understand losing on purpose. That threw me.
Well, what's weird about that is it did me too, just because, in the NFL, you see teams that actively try to win no matter how bad they are. Like you saw teams, Tennessee and the Jets were trying to win games, even though their season was over in a hurry. So, but they're still fighting every week because quite honestly, they're playing for their jobs, and so the average NFL career is 3 years. So if you're not playing well, like in one of those 3, that's 2 more left. You better figure it out pretty quick, or that NFL stands for not for long. So, but, basketball has had this long storied history of tanking. And I think part of the reason that gets them in trouble is the season's too long. So these historically bad teams are stuck playing 82 games. Like even in the NFL, you're only playing 17, which is literally and I'm going to round the math a little bit, but that's basically 20% of the season, like 18 probably to be exact, but still much shorter season. These 82 game seasons, these bad teams are going to be bad the whole year. There's nothing to stop that, but to incentivize it is even worse. And I know they'll never shorten the season because everything is about money, and I'm well aware of that. But I feel like to go on a little tangent, if you don't mind, if you're going to play these long, boring seasons that no one cares about, despite some mid-season tournament that no one cares, no one's fooled by it. No one cares. No one remembers who won the cup. No one cares. At the end of the day,
I do remember the Lakers won the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course you did, because LeBron only told us about it 17,000 times. But however, be that as it may, you just couldn't help yourself, could you?
I couldn't.
I know.
It was I don't know who won it any other time, but I do know the Lakers won.
Right, exactly. But
the first one.
But, it's interesting because I just feel like with load management, players aren't playing the whole season anyway. And if I can give my opinion about this, I just think that you need to play to get paid. Help me understand how Kobe, Bird, Isaiah, MJ, and all these greats can play 82 games and played 80 plus games a lot. And I'm not knocking any of the current players. I'm not. I understand. But it's not good for business when your best players are missing 15 games a year. The product has gone down because we're not seeing the best players play all the time. I just think that's terrible.
That's one of several reasons why the product is going down. But yeah, completely agree with you, buddy. What's been going on in your world this week? Anything special?
Well, I know that you're going to be shocked that I'm going to talk about this, but I just want everyone should be excited. People rally behind the country. The Olympics is going on. And the women just won gold in hockey today in a thrilling 2-1 comeback overtime win over their arch rival Canada. They were down 1-0 with like 2+ minutes to go when they scored to tie it. Hillary Knight with a clutch goal to tie it in forced regulation. And then, of course, the captain ended it in sudden death to win gold. I just want everyone to appreciate how dominant and great and historically great this U.S. women's team is. Because coming into this game, they outscored their opponents 31-1. 31-1.
And I believe this is the 8th time in a row they beat the Canadian team, if I'm not mistaken.
They have owned them.
Yeah. There was another big event today. I forgot what I saw it come across the ticker. I'm gonna be honest with you, BK. This crossed my mind today, and this wasn't on the agenda for today, but I just haven't been very patriotic this Olympic season. What I mean by that is I honestly haven't watched one event. And I normally watch everything Olympic related. Summer, winter, the World Games, whatever, like the lead up to all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, it's just been, I don't know. I just haven't. And I don't really know very many. Well, that might have something to do with it. I don't know very many of the athletes that are competing this go round, and I feel like I don't feel like my head's been in the sand. So, do you feel like it's been like marketed differently? Like they hadn't really put the athletes out there the way they normally do, so you kind of have an idea of who's doing what or has a chance to compete in this, that, or the third. Like, I just don't feel like the connection that I normally feel to the Olympics by the time it gets here, which is normally based upon all the information from all the various sources, that we watch sports, kind of commenting on or kind of gearing you up for particular events and athletes. I don't feel like there was as much of that this year, or maybe I missed it. I don't know.
No, I think that's very much true. I mean, I don't think there's, in my opinion, I don't think that there's been a lot of superstar athletes competing in this Olympics that are box office draws. But, I enjoyed men's and women's hockey, and I definitely enjoyed women's curling. Those ladies were amazing. So those caught my attention. Obviously, the Lindsey Vonn injury is something that I think everyone is well aware of. Schifrin winning gold was a big deal. So, in the slalom, I almost said that wrong, slalom. But in any case, I do agree that it just hasn't had the draw and pizzazz that it normally does.
Well, on to basketball, sir. There are a few rumors out there, and we're going to talk about a couple of them. But right now, the scuttlebutt is that the Lakers and LeBron are coming to an end of their relationship, and he is going to be deciding whether or not he essentially is going to retire or go play elsewhere. Right now, the tea leaves are reading Cleveland. Does it help, hurt, or do nothing at all to his legacy if that is the move? And I know a lot of haters always talk about, he's trying to chase the ring, trying to chase. Is there such thing as chasing a ring by going back to a place where only you've won a championship? Um, how are we feeling about this situation and the possibilities that may come about?
So, to quote a wrestling story, there was a wrestler who was being marketed that he wanted to finish his story by winning the heavyweight title. And I think in the LeBron language here, um, I think it's finished. It would be apropos and a fitting end to a Hall of Fame legendary career. He started in Cleveland. He did something that no one thought was possible in the city of Cleveland. He delivered a championship. Everyone in Cleveland knows how hard that is to do. The drive, the fumble, the blowout, wide right, all of those things, the shot, we've seen it all in Cleveland. So sorry to open up those wounds, Cleveland fans. No email addresses will be given out during the show. However, I say that to say that I think it would be a fitting end to an illustrious career. In this case, I only think would be considered chasing a ring if he went somewhere outside of Cleveland, specifically like a well-known title contender that if he goes to Oklahoma City,
Mhm.
there's no other angle that you can take from that than chasing a ring. And make no mistake, in my opinion, he's been playing well beyond what I thought I would expect him to for
Mhm.
three reasons. He generally still loves the game, which is why he's doing it. He doesn't need the money, so that's not it. He generally loves the game. I do think he's been chasing a ring, but in his defense, he can join a long line of people chasing rings. In every single sport, it happens. Because again, the narrative out there is superstars are defined by how many rings they win. Right or wrong, that is how it is. And so, but it will do, regardless of if he ends up in Cleveland, it won't help, hurt, or it'll be a non-movement on his great legacy.
I don't think he can. If you love him, you love him. If you don't, you don't. At this point, like there's nothing I feel he can do to. Now, if he won another championship, you can't say that doesn't help. But there's not much else other than that I think is going to move the meter one way or the other, in the eyes of the people that like him or the eyes of other people that don't. As far as chasing a ring, if he goes to the Celtics, OKC, or
Or even the Nuggets.
mm, okay, not really, not really. Like that would be something else, not ring chasing though. Because I still don't see that you being the dominant team in the West. I still don't see them being better than OKC with him making that move. Or I at least don't see that as being like the. I'll put it this way: I don't see it being KD going to the Warriors. I'll put it that way.
For sure. Agreed.
NFL free agency starts on March 16th. There are going to be several moves that will be made between now and then. One of the first dominoes to fall, Tyreek Hill was released from Miami best landing spots for him is what's currently on my mind. I like Kansas City.
Agreed. That was the first thing that came to my brain.
Eric Bieniemy's back there, so they brought back the OC from the days of Kansas City having the best offense. Andy Reid's going to give it another go. He's coming back another year. Patty should be healthy. I mean, you put Tyreek Hill on one side of your offense and Rashee Rice on the other, and good luck to the defense. Matter of fact, Rice will probably spend most of his time in the slot. And you have a guy just as fast as Tyreek on the other side in Xavier Worthy. So again, good luck. And there are a ton of qualified running backs that can complete that part of the offense, which I think is as much of a reason that they've kind of been, I won't say broken, but rigged over the last couple of years, trying to make running backs that aren't great seem great. Isaiah Pacheco is regular. Kareem Hunt used to be great. He isn't anymore, but that's been the best that you have there. I don't think that'll be the case going into next year.
Yeah.
Is there a winner up for you?
I think him maybe going to the Steelers, who need a wideout.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that I wonder if the Bears go for more weapons to surround Caleb with that. But the one thing that I wonder about Hill more than where he ends up is, will he ever be the same? I mean, he's 32, coming off a devastating injury. Yeah. I'm curious to see what ability he has left after a very, very devastating injury.
As long as he still has speed, he'll have a job, is what it'll boil down to. But if he can't outrun you anymore, then, well, route running still can land him a job, even if he can't outrun you anymore. He's still kind of spicy in the middle, if you will, but it'll be less and less buyers as you go. Speaking of possible buyers, there's another rumor out there is that CJ Stroud could possibly be on the trade block. Should the Texans pay him or trade him is the question that I have. I'm interested to see if we have the same thought process on this.
So he very much regressed. And I'm surprised he's not getting better as his career has gone on. I'm not sure why. But I do think he is a franchise quarterback. But it's very concerning. You and I both know when teams do well, the quarterbacks get the credit. And when teams don't do well, they get the blame. And he's been awful in the postseason. Like, awful. Like, historically awful. So I don't know where they go from this. My guess is they pay him because we've seen too many examples where they do. But I will say this. Him and Lamar Jackson, to me, both are in a very precarious situation where they both could end up getting traded if they're not careful. Lamar struggles with staying healthy, and then in the playoffs, he does poorly. In the regular season, he's been way better than Stroud has ever been in the regular season, to be clear. But in the postseason, they both struggled. I think they both could end up there. How do you feel?
Well, there are excuses and there are reasons. And in the case of CJ Stroud, he lost just about every pass catcher. Like we like to look at the box score at the end of the game and say, hey, the quarterback sucked. He didn't have anyone to throw the ball to. His first string, second string, wide receiver both hurt. First string running back hurt. First string tight end hurt. Like, and we expect him to go out there and put up regular numbers or whatever, or just tie it into, oh well, look at what he does in the playoffs. But yeah, did you see how many of those interceptions that all you're looking at the box score, and saying, well, look at his QBR, look how many interceptions he thrown. Well, if you actually saw the game, did you see where the wide receiver took off the wrong way because he don't even know the routes, or where a ball was tipped up and it wasn't actually the quarterback's fault? Like, I think we have a bad habit of not actually looking at reasons and looking at all explanations as it pertains to sports as an excuse. And I'm not trying to give CJ an excuse, but between his offensive line giving him 2.2 seconds to throw the ball and not having very many skill guys at the end of each year, he's still waiting on Tank Dell to get back. Nico Collins seems to get nicked up every year. Schultz got nicked up. Like, Joe Mixon was supposed to be a huge part of the offense. He wasn't there. And then his backup, Woody Marks, got hurt too. I mean, Nick Chubb got hurt. Like how many people need to get hurt before we say, hey, thanks for just showing up and doing your job, instead of saying you're hurt too? Versus us bagging on you at the end of the year by saying, well, look at his stats, and not looking at any type of nuance as to the actual reason why, versus, it sounding as if it may be an excuse. And to your point, the end all be all, you're going to get the credit or the blame. But I play a lot of fantasy football, so I know how many of those guys weren't available. So if them not being available hurt CJ as much as they hurt fantasy teams, then he has a legitimate reason for his numbers to have looked the way they did. So,
agreed.
Just putting that out there. Something that I saw and I said, you know what? I gotta ask BK his thoughts on this. Is it time to regulate? So there's a growing national debate right now.
Are we calling Warren G?
He's No, we're not calling Nate Dogg and Warren G. We're calling the FCC.
I was going to get the DOGG to help me with this.
The Federal Trade Commission is being called upon to establish a federal regulatory framework for sports betting to combat the quote-unquote damage currently caused by app-based gambling. And as soon as I read that, I was like, I know who I'm going to ask about this. So, what are your thoughts? Is this just like anything else, and some people will take it for more than what it's geared towards, and make something that's good ugly, or is there some logic to this debate?
So, well, I'm never for anything that involves more government, but I will say, because I'm not sure, well, they're pretty consistent in finding new ways to lose. Maybe they should own the Browns. But that being said, I know, not while you drink, sorry. But that being said, I do think, for me, I know this will shock you, but I think they should legalize gambling in every state. And the reason why I've made this argument is it goes back to when I lived in Ohio. And they would, for years and years and years, they wouldn't do it. And everybody would go to Michigan and Pennsylvania and Indiana and Windsor and every other state in West Virginia and every other state to gamble. And I'm like, whether it's kind of like in South Carolina, they poo-poo it. And it's like, people are going to go to Louisiana, Florida, or North Carolina to gamble. Why let all that money go to another state? For what? For what? at the end of the day, you should legalize it. You can tax it. It would help the economy. It would create jobs. It'd bring in so much money to the state. You're at the end of the day, you're really not harming any people because people are going to do it no matter where they do it. So it's, that's argument doesn't count. They can mess up their finances in Indiana just as well they can do it in Ohio. So I just think that I think people need to get off their high horse. It's time to legalize it. It's time to tax it appropriately. It'll create jobs, and people are going to do it no matter what. So why not just regulate it?
I feel about this the way I feel about most things. Adults are adults. Why are you trying to baby adults? Like if I'm a screw up, I'm going to figure out a way to screw up. You don't have to pick and choose which type of knife not to let me get close to. If I'm a screw up, I'm gonna figure out a way to cut myself. It's just with most things, people that are going to do whatever that thing is are going to do it regardless of whether you poo-poo it or not. I mean, it's no different than in the state of South Carolina. To add to the list, I was 18 years old driving to Georgia to get tattoos and piercings because it was still illegal in South Carolina. So you did what? You did nothing. Like it's to your point, it's a high horse that people like to I see the need for regulations just so that things don't get too far out of hand, but it's no different than countries that don't have a drinking age. Like you got kids that are getting their first beer at the age of 6 or 7, but the alcoholism rates are drastically lower because it's not something you feel you have to binge to do. It's just another thing to do. I don't have to plan for 6.
Go. I'm sorry. There's an allure or a luster to doing something that you can't do.
Yep, that's what it boils down to.
Now, one thing I want to piggyback on this, though, just one quick little tangent. What are your thoughts about prohibiting in-game betting? Like, I think about the Clase situation where he was tipping pitches, or rigging pitches for people to win those in-game props. What do you think about eliminating that or doing something to more monitor or regulate that specifically?
I don't care about that, to be honest with you. Make better props. Like that's all I got for you. Like you're getting money hand over fist. I'm not going to sit here and cry for you because somebody figured out a way to get over. Like that's both sides are trying to figure out a way to get over. No matter, I don't care what the topic of discussion is. Both sides want to have the upper hand. So as with everything else, they'll find more meaningful ways to be able to figure out certain things, and people won't put their careers at risk once they see enough horror stories, if you will. Speaking of horror stories, BK, this week's top 5 all time is childhood punishments. Top 5 all-time childhood punishments. And for me, number 5, good old soap in the mouth for talking back or having a foul mouth. That made my list of the top 5 worst punishments, because I don't know if it was just the soap that we bought, but it was horrible. Like it was. I really thought that I might go blind from tasting that soap. So that's my number 5. At least that's what the Christmas Story showed me. And they still put the soap in my mouth anyway. So I'm like, You don't love me at all. You want me to go blind. And if you don't know what the Christmas story is, shame on you.
That's a
What's your
homework
number
assignment
five?
for all the people out there. That's a homework assignment. If you haven't watched it, after you watch our show, make sure you watch the Christmas Story.
Number 5. What you got?
Mine is getting hit with a wooden spoon. I was such a smart aleck, and I'll never forget. This is a true story. And this, I'm going to actually do my number 4 because it's afterwards because it's going to tie together. So, oh my gosh. So much like you, I was such a smart aleck. Go figure. And so I would, at the time as a kid, my mom stayed at home with me while my dad worked. And I would run my mouth. My mom would try to smack me with the spoon. And I got cornered one time and I dodged and I got out of the way and she smacked and broke the spoon. And I laughed and howled. And that was short lived because that led to number 4. Because when dad heard about this when I got home, it was a bad day for BK. BK did not win that day. It was a BK beating. So, yes, I got spanked very much for that. That is number 5 and number 4.
Number 4 for me. I remember it like it was yesterday. 3rd grade. Most of my troubles came from running my mouth too much. So
That's why we're friends.
Having a podcast now is apropos. I was honing my skills back then. I wasn't talking too much. But 3rd grade, wouldn't stop talking in class. Teacher called my mom. My mom gets there. I'm still talking to somebody in class when she gets there. And like there were no doors on these classrooms. It was just kind of like an open like format, whatever you call it. Like you can just walk up the hall and you see, but everybody saw my mom but me apparently. So she walks in the classroom and she asked Miss Williams, who happened to be, I didn't know this at the time, Miss Williams actually taught my mom in school as well. She was my 3rd grade teacher, but she was my mom's teacher as well back in the day. So my mom walks in the classroom. She said, "Oh, so you keep talking in class after Miss Williams told you not to?" No, I didn't. Oh, so she lying, huh? Oh hell, here we go. So she said, "So where can I take him?" And then Miss Williams was like, "Well, there's really not a place to." My mom was like, "Don't worry about it." She took me right to the front of the classroom. Looked to the left, looked to the right, saw a yardstick, and then wore my behind out in front of my 3rd grade class.
Oh gosh.
And that's just number 4.
Oh jeez. Gots to be more careful.
What's your
I
number
think I
3?
heard. I think I heard hearing that story.
And I still didn't learn my lesson, but I'm
not shocked by that. My number 3 was again being a smart aleck. So I was sent to my room and made to go to bed early because for misbehaving. So I basically got sent to my room and forced for an early bedtime.
Well, I'll see that and I'll raise you 30 days of hell. I don't exactly remember on this one what the infraction was. I just know that for me, punishment was worse than a spanking because punishment took way too long. My mom was going to run out of breath after maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes at the most of a spanking. But a whole month of not being able to go outside, not only can you not go outside, but you can't watch TV or play your video game inside. No toys, no entertainment. You can read, you can write, you can pray. That's all you got. That was, yeah, that was the worst punishment. Just spank me and send me outside, please. Like,
My
What's your number two?
So my number two is actually very similar, which was no TV, no going outside, basically taking away no video games, basically taking away anything and everything that I would want to do for fun. That was not happening. I don't remember how many days it was, but I can tell you it was hell, and it was the most effective punishment because that as a kid, there's nothing worse than losing the things you really love doing.
Amen to that. Number two for me. We'll label it the shark attack. Fifth grade, I went to a private school. And in that private school, corporal punishment was allowed. So getting a paddling for messing up in school was apropos. For some reason, like half of my class ended up in the principal's office. And the reason I label this shark attack is because the principal had this armchair. You had to hold the arms of the chair. Right in front of that chair was a big picture of a shipwreck. And he said, this is cruel and unusual now that I think about it. But he said, you see the shark? You see the shark? Do you see it? It's going to get you if you don't see it. Do you see it? Bah! Did you see it? It got you. And the shark was going to get you 3 to 5 times before it's the next person's turn. And yeah, South Carolina is different for those that are shocked and appalled right now. But yeah, fifth grade shark attack is my number two. All right, BK.
My number one was getting grounded in the car taken away.
That's
horrible.
my number one too.
That's horrible.
But especially since that was my only way of getting to Ebony. So when my car was taken away, I had to walk to work because I started working when I was 15. So and I had my car when I was 16. But I had to walk to work. I had to walk to Ebony's house, which I was still gonna get to where I needed to go. It was just gonna take me a whole lot longer to get there. But it was much more convenient when I had my car. I can tell you that. But what I did to have my car taken, I deserved it. But yeah, it was one of those. Come on, Mom. Like I'm paying for the car. Like how you gonna take what I'm paying for? Like wasn't that the rule? Like my house, my rules. If I'm paying for it, I'd spend a whole year saving up money to buy that car, and now you can still take it from me. Then I wanted to catch an attitude and be like, well, you can have it then. But then I knew the punishment wasn't gonna last but for so long, so I just kept my mouth shut because I learned from my previous punishments. So but yeah, that was number one for me too. And that about wraps up our top 5 all-time list for this week. And BK is either going to save us or help us this week with the BK's Best Bets portion of the show. What we got, BK?
Well, this week I'm going to save you. We're going to take the week off. We're still counting all of our money from the Super Bowl proceedings. So we're just going to take that savings and we're going to gear up for conference basketball, the prelude to March Madness, or as I like to call it, my basketball Super Bowl. We'll be having conference tourneys coming up and also March Madness, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot of dancing then when the best bets cash. But we're going to take a little break till then, and we will get back on the horse soon.
And I will tell you guys what won't be on break here in a couple of weeks. We will be back to the Gospel Fantasy Football Show here in just a few weeks. And we're going to get you prepped for your rookie drafts. We're going to get you prepped for your dynasty moves in the offseason. But until then, above all else, remember, tell the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
We out.
Later, y'all.